Thank you, Don Layton, for joining us. Let's get to the first question that I think a lot of investors want to know. When is E Trade going to be profitable?
Well, that's a little hard to predict. The underlying brokerage business is very profitable, and we do report that as a separate segment. The issue is, when are the bad mortgage assets finally going to have low enough losses that the profits from the brokerage business overcome it? We don't predict it, but most investors are just kind of taking their ruler and putting it on the line and watching the mortgage losses come down, and they're pretty confident it's not that far in the future.
Well, as far as loan defaults go, as you mentioned, I mean, that's been a real problem. How long is it going to take for you to clean that out of your portfolio?
Actually, the interesting thing is our loan defaults. Let me actually focus on loan loss provision. It peaked in the third quarter. Last year's third quarter. We've been coming down for 4 quarters now, so that the investors are pretty comfortable. It's just a question of it running off a little slower, a little faster, depending upon personal opinion.
All right. Another big question for investors is what's going to happen with succession at the top of E Trade. You've announced your impending retirement come December. Do you have a replacement? Who would be the ideal candidate? Are you looking inside the company or outside the company?
We've already announced we're looking outside the company. It's very much a board-level search by committee of the board. Hired an outside headhunter, well along in the process, and when we're ready to announce, we'll announce, not before.
So right now, nobody right now that you've got in mind at the moment?
Not that we're willing to make public.
I mean, the clock is ticking, though. You're going to be.
Yes.
I mean, is this going to be done by the end? By the time you've said the time frame that you set?
There's good. We're pretty hopeful it'll be done by the end of the year. Yes.
Yeah. What kind of experience do you think someone needs to run E Trade?
E Trade needs to transition from the focus I had, fixing the balance sheet and the business secondarily, but the balance sheet, dealing with the credit issues. You need someone who's more a long-term technology, consumer marketing type person to really be an operating guy, to take and think about this business for the next 5 years and make it great.
Well, let's talk about the business for the next 5 years. I mean, what's the company's mission going to be now that it's sort of moving out of this rebuilding phase?
Right.
What do you see as future incarnations of E Trade? Do you see it merging with another company, being bought potentially, buying somebody else?
Let me talk about the business. E Trade fundamentally is in the self-directed equity trading business. We worked hard to try and come up with the right words. That's what it is. That business is a growth business as individual investors in this country move out of the traditional firms and take control of their own investments more and more. In addition, we're looking to expand and make it more self-directed investing broadly. We're adding some bond capabilities, more portfolio management capabilities, things more appropriate to retirement savings rather than just your shorter run equity trading. And so that's where the business growth is. In terms of the future consolidation, we realize consolidation is part of financial services. We've bought others. We've watched people be bought. And the board will deal with it over the years in a smart way that's good for the customer and good for the shareholder.
What do you see in terms of the future of the online brokerage industry? I mean, do you think there will be more consolidation? Will there be fewer competitors in this sphere?
Well, interestingly enough, there's been a lot of consolidation now, and you're getting down to a relatively stable group of larger firms, and then there's many smaller ones, specialty ones. They are still very much they look like they've been built to be bought eventually as a venture capital play in some ways. But the larger firms, you're down to a fairly small group that seems to be relatively stable.
All right. Well, Don Layton of E Trade, thanks so much for joining us. We appreciate it. We look forward to your next appearance on Bloomberg.